The NeuroDADverse podcast is produced by Squid Shack Studios.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Dan.
We're both fathers,
We're both married.
and we're both raising kids with diagnosed neurodiverse conditions.
Parenting is tough, and we're not saying it's harder for us, just different.
And sometimes that different can be hard to explain.
That's why we've created the NeuroDADverse, a weekly show where we share our wins, our challenges, and all the neurosparkly and neurospicy bits in between.
Our hope is to create a safe space for parents to share their own highs and lows of neurodiverse parenting. And just to remind you of three things.
You're doing great,
You are enough.
and you're definitely not alone.
So welcome to the NeuroDADverse. Hello and welcome into the NeuroDADverse. It is the podcast for, about, and definitely by parents of neurodivergent children. If you're new, hello, welcome to this. If you're coming back, hello again and welcome to this. This is where Dan and I, both parents of neurodivergent children, get together and share our wins and challenges of the week and just talk around everything up to do with neurodiversity. All the spicy and sparkly things, I should say, of bringing up our children. Dan, how are you?
I am good, sir. How are you? We've had a nice day today. It's been good.
I am a bit throaty, a bit sniffly. Talking at teenagers for a living takes its toll sometimes. And we've had an up and down week, which of course we will get into. We usually kick off a bit of rundown of what we're going to do here today. We share our wins and challenges. First, we start with the rundown of our week in 3 words. We then have the only part of the podcast which has a jingle, and the only part that will actually, if you don't include the intro, which is looking ahead to the week ahead. Then we just see where that takes us. We used to do our bath time scores, but we think, touch wood, I just use a bit of wood, that bath time is kind of quite settled, so we don't really have much to talk about in that respect. Cool. What was your week in 3 words, pal?
So my week in 3 words, I've gone for tentative. I think that's a word.
Is.
New dash routine, new hyphen routine, and different.
Okay.
What about you?
We have gone for, I don't want to give you last week's, sorry. I rhymed them. Medicate, educate, Floodgate.
Oh, okay. You've captured and piqued my attention super early, sir. I feel that you have to tell me what your week included first.
Can I just say, Sunday evening energy is much better always, isn't it? Anyway, sorry.
That doesn't mean don't go listen to last episode's pod. That happened to me.
No, it was great. There was some great bits and bobs and some key information. But yeah, I just feel a bit better.
And a possible new T-shirt slogan that I'm slowly working on.
Oh yeah. Exciting. If you
go back and listen to episode 31, you'll know more.
Yeah. Is it time for slight tangent? I wonder if that slogan, the thing that you sent me as a mock-up draft of it, could be riding a zebra.
Oh, okay, fine.
That's a good one. But anyway, enough of that. My week included a week of school, as we are in term time for both the children. Some new medication for Mabel. If you haven't listened to last week's, Mabel now has a diagnosis of ADHD, and we are on some medication for a trial period. Spent some social time with the kids kind of after school, and there was a bit of a return to football for Mabel this week. What about you? What was up in your week?
So my week included full week of school, a medical emergency, a frank realization, and a send B-Day celebration.
I want to know if the frank realization was a realization for Frank, or it was a realization that was quite frank. I know. Wow. We are
storytelling again.
We are teasing and trailing. What do you want to go ahead? We normally start with challenges because we feel like sometimes we've got the most to say about that, because we're British and we like to focus on the negatives, but that's why we have 2 parts of this podcast. Dan, go ahead. What was the biggest challenge this week?
So I wanted to start the challenge section with just a slight update on my challenge last week, which was school transitions, getting Frankie ready in time to be able to get on his minibus. So having missed the bus on the first day of school on the new day of term, pretty much every day since has been like for last minute, we just get him on. So that's why I put like sort of tentative. I've approached every day just going, does it get a little bit? And it has. So just to update there, but I am still like, it is touch and go if we're going to make the bus most mornings at the moment. So hopefully that changes soon.
Okay.
My challenge this week, I've got a small sort of, it was more of a challenge for me. It wasn't a challenge for Frank. And I also then want to follow up with a question, which I feel is potentially a challenge for me as well. So it's kind of a two-parter. The first part was my week included a Sen birthday celebration. So yesterday we went to one of Frankie's close Sen friends, classmate that we go to Sen gym a lot. They come to us for play dates. We go to them for play dates. He's very, very comfortable in their home, which is lovely to see because we don't visit too many homes regularly enough for Frankie to kind of get that bond and to feel that he can just come straight in and take his shoes and socks off, which is what he did almost immediately entering their home yesterday, which was really nice to see. And it was just me and him. The challenge for is more of a realization moment of one of our sort of constant challenges is when we came to leave, Frankie was so comfortable, he didn't actually want to go. And it wasn't a huge problem per se in terms of the hosts. They were like, if he doesn't want to leave, like we find it's lovely that he wants to stay here. Don't feel pressured. And I was like, I don't feel pressured, but the other people that come to celebrate had left. I said we would all go together to try and make the transition between, a celebration to a non-celebration happen at the same time. And then we was there for about an extra half an hour. And the only way I got him to go in the end, I think he was just suffering with a bit of FOMO of just having such a sort of nice time there. I had to get them to turn off the kitchen, living room, and bedroom TVs because as soon as I turned one off, he just walked to the next room with another TV because I'd been streaming my YouTube history. Like, I logged into my YouTube on their TV so he could be watching some of the videos that he's been watching at home while the other kids were playing in the rooms because they basically all took it in turns to be the one out of the room while the other ones were playing and whatever else because they're all trying to regulate. And the reason that I found it a little bit challenging. I say it was nice. I just found it a little bit like this is sometimes the challenge that we have is if he is enjoying himself somewhere, the transition of getting him in is challenging, but then the challenge of getting him out again to transition out is challenging. And I was just like, if I was somewhere where they're like, say, a soft play or something where I'm like, you've had your hour and you've got to go. This is kind of sometimes can be a sticking point because I cannot get Frankie to do anything he doesn't want to do. He can be quite stubborn in that respect. So I was just following around.
Well, there's a reason. There's a reasoning there. I'm enjoying
Which
the sensory feedback.
Yeah,
of course. But it's
So it was just more of I'm like, we're in a safe space at the moment. They said, look, it's fine. There's no pressure. They said, like, do you want us to help you go home? And I was like, I really, really appreciate the fall. I said, but like you helping us get home after we've left the room doesn't help us get him out the room, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't
help this transition first.
I just have to wait for and we were going to get a cab home. And I was like, if he's taking this long. And the other reason why I felt it was just a little bit, what it could have been challenging was we'd been there longer than I assumed we were going to be there. I think in total we're probably there just under 4 hours, which is quite a long time really for a celebration. And the other children started to leave because they were starting to potentially, like all of them were starting to show signs of the mask was starting to fade and they were getting a little bit agitated. So I could tell Frankie was really tired. It was taking a lot out of him despite having such a good time. And then he didn't want to leave. And I'm like, I can tell that you're tired. Your body language is telling me your eyes are looking really tired. You're starting to get a bit short. If we don't transition now, it will be a lot more difficult for transition / potentially sort of heading towards potential sort of meltdown, which obviously no one ever likes. And it just makes everything a lot difficult because that'll be at least another half hour, 40 minutes before he'll be. I have no doubt he would have regulated there because he feels safe there. But then I need to give him half an hour to do that. And obviously they're trying to get ready for their celebration the next day and stuff like And I just was trying to be respectful of their time, although they said it's okay. And I know it was okay. But it just kind of just brings me back to the whole, when we do go to places, the challenge can be, if he doesn't want to do it and he doesn't enjoy it, we've got to leave, and that can be a challenge. And then if he enjoys it too much, then he doesn't want to leave. And on this occasion, I was solo parenting it because I mentioned that my week included a medical emergency. Amy's mum has been in hospital since Wednesday. And Amy would have been at the private hospital. She was down at the hospital to see her mum. She's doing okay at the moment. She's definitely a lot better, and she's more stable than she was.
Good to hear.
But had Amy had been there, like, because I was solo parenting in this particular time, made it more challenging. Because if Amy was there, he has been shown a lot this week that he's more willing to listen to her when she asks him to do something than me. I don't know what happened. Maybe I had my few weeks over December where he seemed to listen to me and do things a bit easier and quicker for me. But yeah, so it's not like a huge challenge, but it's just another.
You
It
noticed
just popped
it
up
being
again.
really.
Yeah. Had Amy had been there, I think it would have been an easier transition. But also it's just the sort of our classic. We can take 55 minutes for him to get comfortable to go into a place, and then he only gets 10 minutes and then we have to leave again, and then he doesn't want to leave because he doesn't understand. And it was kind of, he just like, I'm happy here, Dad. Like, why are you bothering me? Like, I'm happy. And I'm like, I get that, but we've also been here 4 hours now. I think that's long enough to stay in someone's house, and they've still got things to do. And obviously they have their kids, because everyone there was sparkly. So
Cool.
that was just kind of my sort of tough moment of the week. We
So-
got it done, and once we were out of their home and we were waiting for the cab outside in the hallway, he was absolutely perfect. It was kind of like, as soon as that last TV screen went off, he looked at me. I went, "All right, you win this round." Puts his shoes and socks on straight away. We say bye to everyone. We leave there, and then we waited downstairs. I was booking a taxi as we were leaving. We had to wait downstairs for 4 minutes. He was fine. I showed him a video on my phone. I said, right, let's walk to the car. We walked to the car. He got in and he was fine the rest of the day. It was literally just that he just didn't want to leave that particular scenario. So in some respects, it was really nice, but that was probably the most challenging part of my week.
Okay.
And so it's not the biggest challenge I've ever had, but it's just,
No,
again, it's just
but
that
it pops
every
up
few
again when-
weeks, every few weeks
when
we get
transitions
this.
have been going okay. But it's good. It's good to hear that the bus is a good thing.
Yes.
Not like you hung on to I don't go on the bus anymore, and that became a thing.
Yeah, I don't think that's become a thing now. So,
Good.
but yeah, he's not where he was at the end of 2025. But yeah,
Good.
but yeah, and then my second thing, in terms of a challenging decision, I wanted to ask, did you ever? I know, obviously, because you are a teacher, you probably did. Did you ever go on any of your kids' school trips? And I suppose more in particular, Oscar, because you were more aware of.
Oh, as a parent.
As a parent, yeah, as you were more aware of Oscar's needs earlier.
No, because it would have been a term time thing. Was it?
Yeah. So
I think
sort of
Laura may have done a theme park thing with Mabel
okay.
in term 5 or 6. And I think there might have been not a trip as such, but in primary, Oscar's school had the summer fair where
Right.
you go to it and students walk you around and introduce you to the teachers and sell you some stuff that they've made in the Christmas fairs and things like that. So events at the school, but I don't think ever. Why is that? Did you get invited along to one, or how does that work?
Frankie, they've kind of sent out a email at the end of last week that they're taking them on like his class's like first proper trip. I say proper trip, sort of inverted commas. They've done a couple of the last few years. They've gone to the post office, which is literally a 1-minute drive from their school, to post letters. They jump in a minibus, they do the thing, they jump back. And the last 2 sort of Septembers, we've gone to the library, which is 20. It would be like a 3-minute drive. It's like a 20-minute walk. And I've gone on both of those library trips with Frank, and Amy's gone to both the post office ones, just the way the schedule's worked out. So to go to this new place is kind of like a local tourism spot, like National Heritage Site. Is about 25 minutes, half-hour drive from the school max with a bit of traffic. And they were asking for parents to come along and obviously help with the trip. And then I was like, yeah, of course, I'll happily do that. And then I was wondering, he acts very differently when we're around. And I want him to have the best experience possible on his school trip. So do I or don't I attend the school trip? Because I feel like there are pros and cons to both scenario. And then I'm like, which one would add more value, as it were,
So
to his trip?
my gut feeling is just make a choice. There's no
Yeah,
right or wrong choice. There's just a choice. You can overthink this. So that just make the choice, and then that will be what it will be. I think it's a long, long road to our children gaining the independence. And if you remember back Christmas Eve, Oscar went out with a friend and a friend's parent, independent of us for the first time in their life, and they were nearly 14 at that point. And that's not through the want of trying or organizing, or
of
it's
course.
just been a lot for them for that separation. So yeah, you're
Mm.
cool. You're cool. Also, it's an odd when to know where you stand in those scenarios.
Yeah, well, that was kind of
What I mean
my,
by that is with other children
yeah,
and behavioral management techniques.
yes,
Obviously,
yeah.
yeah, it's just an odd one, but it's also on the flip side of that good for the school community and understanding. And you will, yeah, I don't know. It's not from you know the context better, and maybe just make sure you say, oh, by the end of the school year, we'll have done as many as we haven't done with Frank, and therefore you'll be able to get that feedback quite nicely. Like, oh, Frank had
Mm.
an incredible trip today. Well, Frank had a few problems with transitioning when we go. Like, you're only going to know by getting both sides of the data.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, because the technically the trips that we went on, we didn't, in hindsight, we don't need to, because they're not like walking to a library. Like once he's in the library, he's in the library, and then we walk. So it's
Mm.
more the walking, and he likes to walk faster. Or
Yeah, sure.
I carried him. On this one, it's because it's more of an open space, more things to do. I feel like there's going to be a lot more potential challenges
Uh-huh.
in the transitioning. But if I'm there, I don't want him to be like, I think me being there would help if he gets more potentially stressed, anxious. Um, I can go off and follow him where another member of staff can't, just, depending what their ratio is or whatever else or what they're doing. Like, I can just be like, well, that's not going to impact the rest of the school trip if I'm there, because I can go off with him. But then flip side, if I'm there,
Yeah.
maybe he doesn't listen as much, or like he won't listen to the teachers, because obviously I'm like, when you're in school, you should listen to
Hmm.
teachers. When you're at home, you should listen to
Yeah.
dad. So
But you don't know, all of those things, like,
yeah.
it can be different, like when you've been into school, but then that's in school. So,
Yeah, because he acts
oh,
differently
excuse
when
me.
we go into his classroom. So, like, the teacher will
It's
be like,
really nice to hear. It's really nice to hear that they're pushing forward with these types of trips, because obviously it is sometimes the case that they are not in a position to be able to offer that to the children for a variety of reasons. Not to say that
"No, totally, totally agree." Yeah.
so
Yeah, I'm
it's
not
good stuff,
saying I'm
man.
not grateful of really grateful of the
No,
opportunity.
yeah,
I probably will go, because I think if they're asking for help, obviously it's easier, and there's obviously a reason. If they didn't need help, they wouldn't necessarily ask for it. I'm in
yeah,
a
right. And
position
lots of
where I'm
parents wouldn't be
self-employed and I can take
exactly.
the
Yeah.
day off. Um,
Mm.
it also happens to be the day before my birthday, so that could be a really nice early present.
Whoa!
But
Wait for the section of the
oh,
podcast.
yeah, sorry. We haven't heard a
No,
nice
yeah,
jingle yet.
of course.
But yeah, so all right, I just thought I'd ask. I assumed that you wouldn't be able to, but obviously when they were a bit younger, I didn't know if that was a thing where, if you were asked, would you or Laura,
No,
if you were free, would you go? And did you have any reservations that I might have just been explaining? Be like, is it better that I go? Is it better that I don't? And you're
it's
never gonna know. You
just make a choice.
Yeah,
Just
fine.
make a choice.
Okay,
It's all
appreciate the
good.
feedback.
Um.
Tell me about your
Okay.
challenge, sir.
Well, they're both all to do with my week in 3 words. So Medicate, educate, Floodgate. We have opened the door to Mabel having some medication for her ADHD, and they gave us a list of potential side effects, and we talked through it. Really clear with the clinician, a follow up in 3 weeks, and that in turn opened the floodgates. Like, of the side effects, Mabel seemed to get more
Right.
intense lethargy,
Right.
intense dry mouth, intense kind of temperature regulation,
Right.
poor sleeping. So she actually didn't make it to. She started on Monday. Interestingly, the clinician said you have to take them after your breakfast on every morning. So Mabel went immediate first of all afterwards.
I
How
don't
do I
eat
do that?
breakfast.
I
Oh,
don't,
right.
yeah, how do I do that? I don't eat breakfast. How do I take
Right.
them after? I was like, we have to start making breakfast. Right. So I'll have to
Well,
make some breakfast.
yeah.
And I was like,
And
okay,
factor that
well, and
into
then we
your
worked
morning.
out a plan and she does, she's kept up to that, which is good. But yeah, it was, by the end of Tuesday, she just said that, she was just exhausted, dry mouth, real intense lethargy. But what also is happening is the kind of floodgates are kind of opening in terms of her recognizing that she's overstimulated and not holding it anymore.
Right.
Like I had I had witness to see her after school one day where she'd had PE, so change into PE, go to school in uniform, change into PE kit, change out of PE kit, change out of school uniform into drama kit, out of drama kit into that. And by the end of the day when she was getting home, I was like, just saw her, she's like completely discombobulated. And I was like, okay, cool. So when we get in, then and then something happened. Like she dropped her phone or something, and that just went floodgates. And she was like shaking her hands. Oh, I just need to get out of this. And I was like, oh, she wasn't angry. She was just like, oh, super overwhelmed. And I've noticed that more and more this week, which I think can partly be realizing that
Mhm.
and then recalibrating all of the things that have happened to you in your life that could be down to this. And if you'd felt bad about yourself, it might not necessarily be that actually someone else felt like that about you. Mixing in the RSD, kind of what flavor of ADHD do you have, and how is this taking place? So we had 2 days where she just could not get out of bed and regulate, and the challenge was so tough to not go, we're not having this again. You you are in a different school. You don't have to feel those feelings that you had at your previous school because this is nothing to do with that. In in fact, it's the flip reverse. We know why you are having those reactions and you're medicated for it. Um, it was just challenging to not uh, blame's the wrong word, but not view it as that she was falling back into kind of old patterns. Luckily, she's got enough about her that she can see that she prefers this environment, and she's got enough about her to be telling me, "Right, I'm coming to school again. Uh, Dad, I'm going to school again. So, like, what do you on Friday?" I was like, "Oh, that's good. You feel up for that?" And so, yeah, those side effects are a lot, and they're ongoing, but it's tough not to go, "Oh, if they're having this effect," and we've managed to make her move to a school that she is comfortable in.
Mm.
Um, hmm, it's difficult not to think, well, maybe the drugs don't really need to happen. Uh, but that's an ongoing
Understandable.
process. So yeah, we managed to just kind of see it through. She's been responsible for taking her tablets. I mean, she needs a bit of structure for it, but
So she has
yeah,
taken a full week's worth of medication. Okay, that's cool. So is
yeah.
it only one?
And
Is it
eating
only once in the
eating
morning?
breakfast.
So is it only
Yeah,
after breakfast? Right. Okay.
yeah. It starts
Uh,
on that dose, and then they do what they say.
okay. And
Um,
then the side effects kind of appeared almost straight away. Like, as in, like by day
after
two.
Monday, yeah, after day 2,
Mm.
we were in, but, that's what medication is about, isn't it? Like, working out and seeing how it works for you. And the other little chunk is that Oscar is in a period of non-school attendance pretty much. They didn't go 4 days this week. Uh, so in a similar scenario to when we had with Mabel, Oscar doesn't feel that they want too much detail spoken about that, but there's a number of kind of reasons. and they're talking about that, but it is quite complicated for their safety for us to have to kind of pivot and work out who's going to stay with Oscar, and what kind of motivational, what carrots and what sticks we're going to use, and also think about how Oscar communicates slightly differently. So we've been doing some work on the calendar and their timetable and talking about what they feel is difficult and what they are willing to go through, and thinking about some rewards and stuff. But this is the first time that they've been at that school since year R we've ever had this. And
Right.
it's kind of, am I taking some little bit of comfort that it's classic year 9 stuff? Maybe. But we've just been through that with Mabel, so we know it can really be damaging for self-esteem. So it's a bit of a balance. So yeah, a tough week all in all, because yeah, it just feels like the baton was the school attendance baton was just passed from one of them to the other one, and
Mm.
yeah, obviously it's not that, but yeah, just trying to do the best for them, really, which is tough because we haven't ever had to encourage them to go to school, either of them actually. So yeah, but we are in a scenario where we are talking about it, and there's some conversations going on with school, and crucially with Oscar. So yeah, tough though, tough because you just don't want to be having those conversations all the time. It just kind of dominates mornings when I'm at
Yeah.
work.
But it starts to affect
I'm
your
on the
mood.
phone with Laura. Laura's like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, and hey ho though, won't be the first person who they won't be the first kids who had a struggle to attend in year 9. It's just we
Well,
don't.
yeah.
There aren't as many options for what we do with Oscar. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Hopeful that they can get linked back in to school. There's lots of things that I think once there aren't a problem. So it's the
It's just a
thinking about it.
transition. Yes, trying to
Yeah, but it's
actually
also
do
the
the
conceiving about it, and also they're enjoying what they're doing, so they're not regulating their sleep as well. Like they're waking up in the middle of the night and actively doing things,
right.
uh, which they're enjoying, right? So it's like, oh, I'm going to transition you back to sleep now. You're enjoying something, so you want to be just left alone to do that thing you're enjoying, but it's 2 a.m. So yeah, hey ho.
Well,
On the other
hopefully,
side of this,
all a passing.
sorry, go on.
Hopefully, just all a passing phase, mate. As we say, everything's a phase. Every day ends. It's not always as easy as it sounds there, but yeah, hopefully, let's see what magic comes this week.
And on the other side of this, you might hear some magic because it's wins after this. Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves. We're back in the NeuroDADverse, where we're discussing all things neurosparkly and neurospicy about parenting neurodivergent children. We're on to the section of the podcast that is about wins. Dan, do you want to tell me about your win?
So my win this week was until last night, 2 nights ago, sorry. I was starting to have a little bit of a breakthrough with solo parents. So I said sort of new routine and different. The different has been our home routine has been slightly different because Amy's been out more at the hospital with her mum, and the establishing of the post-school routine is actually been pretty flawless and pretty amazing. So I'm struggling in the mornings now, but the evenings have kind of, because you can't have it all, right? So we're having better post-school stuff. So, and part of that routine was when I have Frankie on my own, which is usually at least once or twice a week, where Amy has other things on in the calendar, I've started to do more of a build-up in terms of bedtime. He normally starts to show that he's yawning or he's cuddling me a lot more. I go, shall I go to bed? And then I'll be like, I'll turn the telly off after a few minutes. And sometimes I've learned to appreciate, obviously, that's quite a sudden transition, and sometimes Frankie can be fine with sudden transitions, and sometimes Frankie is not okay with sudden transitions. So I've started giving him like a half hour, 45 minute, depending on how tired he is. I go, we go to bed in like half an hour. I know he doesn't necessarily understand what half an hour is, but again, just
Yeah,
sort of,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we talked about this a few weeks ago. You said about I should have
The
probably been
times
doing
for
this in the
you,
morning.
the
Yeah,
times for you, but
yeah,
for
for
Frankie, you
them.
can either do,
Yeah,
when I come back, it will be 3. When I come back, it will
yeah.
be 2, or whatever.
So yeah, so I started doing that a little bit in the mornings with the bus, and it has been helping. So
Mm.
I just said, we go to bed in half hour. I say we watch this one and one more, and we go to bed. And I go, we watch this one, then we go to bed. And it's actually got to the point where on a couple of occasions now, he's kind of, it's finished, but the YouTube video finishes. He looks across at me and I go, we go to bed now? And then he goes, and he kind of trying to formulate his thoughts on what he wants to do. He'll take the remote so I can't turn the telly off, which is a classic, normally what he'll do. But I stand up and I turn off the lights and I go, we go to bed now? And then he'll just be like, and he'll walk over to me and he'll give me the remote and then start walking up the stairs. I
Good.
then turn the telly off. So that
Nice.
was
Got a little routine.
yeah, so yeah, it's like we're starting to form this new routine, new dash routine.
Nice.
So that was going to be the win. My actual win, which happened, I believe it was Friday night, because yeah, it wouldn't have been last night because we was out. So Friday night, Frankie gone to bed quite early. Amy was in on Friday night, and we was all chilling. We went to bed. He went to bed relatively early. We went downstairs, life admin, watching a bit of telly. He woke up. He come down. So we went, okay, we'll go to bed. I think it was about midnight.
Oh.
And then he was sitting there sort of, as he does, singing in the dark. It's pitch black. He's singing in the dark. Da, 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 da. And then Amy said something to him. And then about 30, 40 seconds went past. He didn't say anything. And then he just went, I don't know. Like clear as anything. And I was like, Frank, have you just said? I went, he just said, I don't know, right? And she was like, yeah. I went, there we go. Daddy's now heard more words. So he's now said up to 8 words. But he's actually said that is a 3-word phrase. So we've had thank you and we've now had I don't
Sorry,
know.
run me back. I was stunned by that. Run me back. Out of nowhere, or in response to
So when he first it I
so
suppose
good,
in
so
his head,
joyful,
yeah, it was it's amazing, right? I was just
so
like,
joyful. It's
sometimes when I
great.
have news like this, I'm like, oh, we have to do challenges first, but I appreciate we have a system and it's fun.
Yeah.
But so in his head, he probably was reacting to something that Amy had said, but his processing time, it took
Mm.
time. We'd finish the conversation or we'd ask the question because,
Oh God, yeah.
we do talk to him. Like sometimes we say to people, don't talk to him because he can't talk back, and that can be frustrating. But obviously, we always have spoke to him, like trying to engage in
Yeah, yeah,
conversation
yeah.
because you just never know. But if people that haven't really met him come up and start asking him a load of questions, I mean, you're just overwhelming him. It's never going to happen. But he might just reply to something because we know he said thanks and stuff. So, um,
So
I think
have
it
a
was
little.
something around a bad belly because I think he was like we could hear his belly gargling again. I think he's had a little bit of he hasn't
Okay.
had an upset stomach, but like he's been probably a bit more gassy the last few days. So it was probably something along the lines of I went, do you think he's got a bad belly? And she was like, babe, you got a bad belly? Let me rub your belly. Da, 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 da. And then about a minute or two later, when nothing was really being said because we were just like appreciating the silence because we thought I might be going to bed. He just said, I don't know, like quite loud,
Uh,
profound, and
it also,
oh, this is
in my
amazing.
experience, it could even be something from yesterday.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I remember we had a scenario where Oscar walked down the stairs in our old house and said, I think it was, I think it was ice cream. It's like, no ice cream, or no thank you. No ice cream, no thank you, or something. Strawberries,
Amazing.
no thank you. And Laura and I was like downstairs. I said, did you hear that? She's like, yeah. Because at this point, Oscar had some language. It's like, well, did you ask Oscar? It's like, no, because we got in from somewhere, I think, and they'd come back down. So did you ask anything when they were outside? No. And then it kind of dawned on us. I think Laura went, well, I did yesterday. I didn't offer them whatever it was, but they didn't respond. So I just gave it to them.
Right.
Like, right. So do you think
Yeah.
they're responding to that? Maybe. And there's that kind of like delay, and that's time. So you're never going to know. But the most important thing is it's
You
joyful.
said it.
Like I said, it's not that. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
the. It's not the goal to give him all of a sudden bang loads of language, because that may never be a thing that actually functionally works, but it might be. However, this is nice.
Yeah, I was like, "Well, this is nice." Yeah, totally. I was just
Yeah,
like, "Oh my god, Dad has
great.
heard you." So I've heard him say 4 of his 8 words now. So that
But
was
the
really
but
good
the
and
but the
present.
stringing together,
Yeah, I was like, "And that's a sentence, isn't it? Almost the 3 words."
yeah, it's a 3-word.
I
Yeah, I
don't know.
love it.
But so when you were just saying your story about Oscar, if that was
Yeah.
so in my head, I'm like, was that the next time after the question was asked, he was in that room? Because if it was, there might have been his brain going, "Last time I
Uh,
was here, I was asked a question, and I finally formulated an
I
answer to that
g
question." But that's
we
amazing.
do you I know what headspace you're in, because I think for the rest of that week, Laura and I were like, "Okay, so,
Writing down
when
every
you asked,
question.
where were you? Were you sat here when you asked that question? Was Oscar halfway up the stairs?"
Yeah.
And you could never really piece it together, but I think just, if I knew what I know now, I would just sit in the joy and go, "Oh, that's good."
Yeah,
Um,
I said, "There's Daddy's win of the week.
you
Thanks, Frank."
you
And then he was asleep
communicated
like 10
something you
minutes
didn't
later.
want. You communicated a need to me, or you didn't communicate a need to me, or
Mm,
something you did want. Great.
no. So
Exciting.
that was my Frank realization.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, yeah,
So good.
tell me about your
So
wins,
good.
sir, or wins.
My win is just quite broad, really, and it tags onto the challenges. The conversations that I have been having with my 2 teenagers are so mature, are regulated. I don't know how to put it. It's just been joy's not the right word. It's just been a real comfort to know that whatever they are going through, we can talk this out.
That's
Choosing
amazing.
when, choosing when will be massively important. And I would have been told to stop being their shadow, as that happened just before the pod. But that's just because I wanted to know what one of them wanted to eat, and they just said stop being my shadow. Um, and I believe have sorted themselves out of some food because they're a teenager. That's what they do. But also, can we not talk about this now, Dad? Okay, and just let them, just accept. Now's not the time. But the when we have talked about it, so Oscar with school attendance and what's troubling them and how they're feeling, and maybe with this medication and showing that like we're on we're on both of their teams about it, but also just being reasonable, but then holding a boundary about stuff. So it's like the medication, for example. Yeah, when will you come back? Have a conversation about that. Talk to your teachers. What did you miss at school? Conversations with Oscar about like, well, if you do go for 5 days in a week, is there something we can do at the end that you would like? And they're
Mm.
communicating that. Not that it has to be bribery, but we're trying to work a system out. That is great. And I think that Laura and I don't give ourselves enough credit. And if you're listening to this, I'm betting that if you've got neurodiverse teenagers, uh, that you are neurodivergent teenagers or neurodivergent kids, you probably don't give yourself enough credit for the way in which you have built a safe space for them. A lot of the time, you might think it's not safe for them. And what I mean by that is that they put themselves at risk in a variety of ways more than a neurotypical child. I don't mean that that means it's easier. I just mean it's different because there's a lot more need that you are witnessing, and therefore you feel like you're not doing right by them. But you probably are, because if you're sticking around and you're with them, they'll find that comfort from you. And I think that means that they're able to talk to us about it. Hey, can I talk to you about something? M- In my eyes and Laura's eyes, our hearts kind of sing, they don't drop, because we know the stuff that you're going through and you've been through, and we've all been through as a family together.
Oh.
We can manage that. We can learn about it, and we can be curious and not judgmental. It's not easy to do that, but
Oh.
I do feel like these really difficult things, I don't think there's anything we can't talk about,
Well, that's
you know?
amazing that
Um,
you've established such a great culture, like home culture to do that. That is awesome, mate. Like, yeah,
Thank you.
that
I appreciate it.
because that's, I suppose, I've only got the one child. I would love to think that he could talk to me about anything if he wanted to, when he has the words and the capacity to want to do things like that. I think as a parent speaking about other parents, that's got to be one of the main things that you probably want, right? You just want your kids to know that they can talk to you.
Well,
They might not like what you have to say, but the fact that they might actually want to tell you everything is a nice feeling. So
you can, yeah, just kindness and patience, and I think as well that to still be there, willing to have that conversation, to understand, try and understand, is something that they probably really value if you're still there after it all. You know. And they're human beings as well, so they'll chat to their friends and they'll compare, and we're not bothered about comparing ourselves to other parents. You're human beings, so you do it, and you're probably confronted with things on social media about how to do it correctly. All you could do is be there for the ones that you have, and yeah, I feel that little that I do, like, people often kind of say, it feels like I've got two little young friends, my friends. They just are my friends, and we talk about stuff. It just, if anything, the bit that they don't like is the bit they know I have to do. So get them to go to school, have the difficult conversations, and put some boundaries in. But and I say it's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and paint a thing like that. I talk about a challenge every week, and to be quite frank, there could be 3 or 4 challenges written down. But yeah, it's just a big win because, as I say, I do some mediating between teenagers and some parents, or teenagers and their head of year or whatever, for a living. And some teenagers that I work with don't seem to necessarily have that. And again, that's not me saying that means that I'm fantastic. It just means that I do have that we do have that with our teams, and we like that a lot. So yeah, bit of a broad win, not as specific this week, but I am thankful and grateful that we have that scenario, because if it were the type of thing where Laura and I were becoming frustrated to the point of annoyance with them, they'd clam up, and that's just not going to get anybody anywhere. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing. Sorry, go on.
So you had these amazing in-depth conversations without the need to go for a drive as well, by the sound of it, or did you go
Well,
driving?
to be fair, some of them did come up on drives.
Right, okay, fine.
I am considering picking up and going for a drive directly after this, to be honest.
Okay.
It's dark, and sometimes they like that, but
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure that they will
Want to.
they'll be up for that. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's fun.
Oh, that's fine. That's just reminded me to do something tomorrow. My alarm went off to remind me to do something tomorrow because it's important next week. And if you're ready for a bit of a rave, it's time for this part of the podcast. It's look ahead to the week ahead. Is there anything significant coming up for you that you think might fit into your wins and challenges, my friend?
I did forget last week to say that we had a birthday celebration in the day with Frankie and an evening for us.
I thought that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, so that was my bad. But I double, triple checked and conversed with Amy on the subject of, have we got anything? What's our week looking like, babe? And obviously, there isn't anything planned during the school week. So it is school. We've got gym on Saturday, and then Saturday evening, I'm going out to celebrate my birthday slightly earlier. I'm not usually a fan of doing that, but the just the way the schedules are working out over the next couple of weeks is probably the best time for us to try and do something if I'm going to celebrate. And obviously,
Is that a family thing?
no, that is a family have been invited. It's more of a sort of the
I meant with
the usual
Frank.
friends. Oh no! So this will
okay,
be a
fine. That's
night out. Yeah, I will probably
Okay.
do something next week. My birthday's actually 2 weeks time, but I will definitely do something with Frank. But that's more of a night out for Amy and myself and some of our friends, so that'll be I think it's an Uncle Grant sleepover with Frankie for that night, and then Amy will be up and down the hospital a couple of times in the week. So I haven't got anything major planned, but as always, as our lives unravel and unfold, things pop up and happen. So this
Cool.
will all probably be totally different this time next week when I come back and be like, my week included a lot.
Mhm. We don't have that much either, but that doesn't mean I don't think it's going to be challenging. Laura's got some shifts at work during the school day. There'll be a flip from her shift being like it's complicated, don't want to get into it, but like working in the day to working late through the night. So her sleep pattern will be interrupted. Yeah, more than usual with her diagnosis, but that will mean that there will be a focus on ensuring that Oscar is at school for those days because there isn't much support. And then maybe we'll try to get Mabel through a full week of school. Football training for her on the Tuesday night. Some singing lessons that she goes to.
Nice.
So then a weekend of not much in the calendar. It's a bit like that at the moment.
It is January, towards the end of January, like this.
So maybe,
Right
and I'm not
month.
promising anything, but maybe we'll sneak in Champion of Champions on the Sunday because she has no football game. But we'll see.
Don't tease.
No, well, I have to keep it in because I'm kind of waiting for the kids to ask when are we going to do it, Dad. But again,
See, that could be a bad
my
sign,
heart might
though.
break if I launch it and they go, nah.
Nah.
not interested."
Yeah. But a part of me would
Although
think,
to be fair, the fact that Oscar is the current holding champion will be maybe we'll want to do it.
right, okay. Yeah, but I would be thinking if they both kind of like pincer move and they go, yeah, are we going to do it today? That kind of heavily implies they're prepped, ready to go to win. So they might be
Have
catching
you
in
listened
that.
to any of the podcasts we've done about my kids? They will have an instant, should we do this? And I'll go, yeah, cool. Have you thought about it and organised it? They'll say no. We'll do it anyway.
Fair enough, but
Nice.
it could happen. That's
Okey-doke,
what I'm
well-
saying. It could happen. They could be
Yeah,
ready. They could be
we
sitting
could
there going,
break it.
I'm waiting for Dad to say today's the day. But,
Yeah, I mean, all of us have to be in the right mood at the right time. So it's planets aligning type stuff. And who knows? The podcast is a good way to check this, but maybe we'll break. Maybe Frank will break 10 words.
I mean, who knows? That would be amazing.
He's
I
only
did
got
say,
2 to
obviously,
go.
if I could manifest it, more words would be lovely. So he's 2 weeks into the 2 pods into the new year, and he's given me 3 words. So I'll take that. I keep saying I don't know when Amy asks me a question, and he hasn't copied. But yeah, it always helps, I suppose, to use the words that
I
they
don't
give.
know. Frank, do you know?
Don't know. Yeah, it's just so trash.
Oh,
But anyway,
rad. Cool.
amazing.
Well, if you've been listening to us chat about this and you quite like us being open and honest and chronicling our lives as dads of neurodivergent children, we thank you very much. We started this in the summer and we're super glad that everyone is still listening and we're still doing it. It's super useful for us. If you'd like to get in touch or keep up to date with the types of things that we are doing, please find us on social media. That's TikTok and Instagram. And if you want to get in touch with us about anything at all, you've got an idea for a little segment or some stuff you want to say, or you just want to share your own challenges and wins, you can email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. And that just leaves me to see if Dan would like to say 3 little things to end our pod this week.
All I'm thinking about is my blunder last week. So
That's okay, Dan. I believe in you. I'm sending good energy.
good energy. So no, thank you everyone for listening, and just we want you to remember that you are enough. You're doing great, and you're certainly not alone.
But you might be a gnome. Goodbye. That's about it for the NeuroDADverse. We'll be back next week.
If you laughed, cried, or nodded in tired agreement, Don't forget to follow us and leave a review. It helps more parents find us.
Just remember, you're doing great.
You are enough, and you are definitely not alone.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves.